It's such a beautiful, powerful system the bees have created. And they're functioning so well because everybody has their job. Everybody does what they need to do to help the greater good. And really focusing on what's our goal, what's our purpose, what would we like to accomplish? And we can really apply this to humans.
Hello and welcome to the How Are You Really podcast. I am your host, Dr. Faryal Mallick. I am a child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, and I am really excited about the mindful hive, what bees teach us about stillness and presence. We're talking about what bees teach us about community and harmony and peace and mindfulness practices. So much information and education. I learned a whole bunch of things. So I'm excited to share this with you all. Our guest speaker for today is Miss Sandra Beekmann. She is a licensed clinical mental health counselor, trauma counselor, and the owner of Santa Menta Counseling in Tampa, Florida. It is a group practice. She specializes in supporting adults, couples, and families navigating trauma, life transitions, and relationship challenges. Sandra is passionate about helping clients build resilience, discover their strengths, and foster holistic well-being, blending evidence-based practices with mind-body awareness to support healing and growth. In her free time, Sandra tends to her beehives and creates natural bee wax products. Her passion for beekeeping reflects her commitment to sustainability, community wellness, and living in harmony with nature. I am excited to try Sandra's honey. And also, I want to share her Instagram handle with you guys. It's Beekmann's Bees, BeekMannS, BEES. Let's get started. Welcome, Sandra. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a really interesting and different topic, so I'm excited to talk about it. I really am curious how you got interested in honeybees and bees.
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me. And yes, it is quite a different topic, right? Well, it's a really good question. So it's really did start, like a few years ago when I was introduced to the honeybees, by some friends. They had also bees in their backyard. And when I first heard of it, I was like, ooh, that
Yeah.
just but then, I really I was so fascinated by just the honeybee itself, how they
Mhm.
function, when I saw the hive and how they work and what they do. And then of course I do also love honey. And so this is really how it all started. It just sparked something in me and then I started studying about it. I was talking to other people who are, in the job beekeepers. I was reading a lot. I did a lot of research. And then about 3 years ago, we got our first hive
That's amazing. So, do you have it in like your backyard? Where are you keeping them?
in the backyard. Yes. So
That's amazing.
yeah, we
Yeah.
started with one hive and have five now.
Wow, incredible. I'm gonna have to try some of that honey.
I'll stop by and drop some off.
I appreciate it. All right, so it sounds like you find some stillness with the hive, the beehive. I'm really curious to learn about that.
Yes. So it is the hive, first we have to like see the hive has about 40 to 60,000 bees in one
Wow.
hive. And everybody sort of, not sort of, everybody has their job, so to speak. And
Mhm.
it's such a well-oiled machine, so to speak. And it is when you just see them and you just watch
Mhm.
them, it just really creates so much calmness and peace when you just watch them. It just the buzzing sounds and how they function.
Yeah.
How everybody's just focused on what they are supposed to be doing. It's just very calming. And yeah, it creates a lot of, calmness and peace
Yeah.
when you just
And
watch.
it
Yeah.
yeah, and it sounds like community, right? If they each have their role 40 to 60,000, that's a lot of bees. And they all have their roles. That's very interesting. So what is the hierarchy like?
Well, there's a queen bee.
Mhm.
And the queen bee is sort of setting the tone, the temperature, so to speak,
Mhm.
of the hive. And she's, of course, the one who's laying eggs. And then you have
Yeah.
the workers, you have the nurse bees, you have the drones. The drones are the only males.
Mhm.
Everyone else is a female. A
Okay.
lot of people also did not know that. It's run by females, and of course there is usually a couple hundred drones, which are the males. They also have their function, and everybody's just assigned their job when they are born, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And it's such an amazing community. You know how the hive works in itself. Yeah, so that's usually how it is.
Looking from the outside, it looks to me anytime I've seen, I don't know how much in person, maybe once I've seen it in person, but mostly on TV or, in shows and stuff. So it looks very busy. And it looks loud. It looks like whoever's getting the honey is all dressed up. So I'm really curious that, while you're doing the process, how that brings you peace and calm.
That's a really good question. So it's just a fascination about, the system
Mhm.
of the honeybee, how they function and how they're looking out for each other. Everybody, does contribute to the community. There is just so much connection and connectivity. But also, I think, and this is the most fascinating part for me, is the purpose. They all
Mhm.
serve a purpose but they all work together to create the greater purpose for the community
Yeah.
and of course for all of us because they're
Yeah.
pollinators and we need pollinators and
Right, right, right.
it's just very peaceful and calming just to see how it is just fascinating how they function, how what kind of purpose they have, what kind of purpose they create and what they actually really do for our environment and not only for our
Mhm.
environment, for us as humans.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that they are functioning in this community. And just if we parallel that to humans, right? A few things. One, the community, the harmony that the community brings, and like how they're each playing their role without getting into fights and creating this beautiful hive and honey and producing all of that, right? Doing their jobs. And then the buzzing sound almost like a meditative sound, just a buzz that is there. And then you said watching it is very peaceful. And so I am curious how you can compare all of this to humanity and how we as humans, somebody that doesn't do anything except wear like save the beast church, how can we learn to bring that harmony and calm and possibly meditation in that comparison?
I think we can learn a lot from the honeybee as humans. I think, just recognizing that we are all here in this together, so to speak,
Mhm,
I think could
mhm,
be a really wonderful lesson for us as humans that we recognize this is we are all here together. And if we
mhm,
work
mhm.
together, we can make it more peaceful, more productive, but really, just to be connected to nature. I think that's for me the biggest,
Yeah.
just to recognize, to be mindful about our environment, where we are,
Mhm.
who we are, just being connected to nature, being more, aware of the flowers, the plants, the earth surrounding us. That really does help. I mean, for me, with just being more mindful, meditation, practicing meditation, just being out there and connecting to nature is definitely one of the most, I think for me, most powerful, most calming
Yeah.
techniques.
Right. Yeah. And I talk about this all the time, like grounding, right? Just go outside and put your bare feet in the grass of the earth, right? Connect and ground. And so nature is so important in just like finding that peace and harmony within. Was there a particular moment where you realized that the hive like brings you this peace and you wanted to have the hive?
There really was. So I really, in the beginning, I have to say, I was, of course, very, like mindful, also, careful because the
Mhm.
honeybee can sting. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
there's definitely, a great respect for the honeybee. But I think the moment, when you just sit still and you just, just watch them and you see how calm they are, it really just, translates the calmness into our own lives. It just brings more calmness into our
Mm.
own lives when you just sit there and you watch them and you just really truly see how calm they are. Of course, they're getting a little bit more irritated if you open up the hive. Of course, you now have to wear a suit. Because of course, they don't know what's going on. They just know somebody's
Mhm.
opening up their home.
Mhm.
So of course they can get irritated, and would like to protect their hive. I think that really kind of translates, or we can see parallels with humans, right? We would also
Mhm.
protect our home, our life.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it just really, I think it just really helps. It helps. It helps me as a human just to just also, find more calmness, more grounding.
Yeah. So was this when you had gotten your own hive, or were you at like a friend's place, like observing their hive?
Initially, many years ago, I was observing their hive, and I was first I was a little bit scared, I have to, say, because I have never been, fairly close up to a hive. But then, when they said, "No, no, don't worry about it. Just breathe normally, just see and observe." And I think that's the moment where I was hooked.
That's just incredible. So, how do you bring all that you have learned from the beehive and just your own finding your harmony and peace from this practice and having honeybees and beehives? How do you bring it into your practice for your clients, your therapy patients?
Well, that's a wonderful question. I think mainly really is what, being a beekeeper, a hobby beekeeper has taught me is to really practice more patience and really also in a way looking at the bigger picture, because sometimes we're
Mhm.
so focused on instant solution in whatever is going on, but that we also really recognize this is a process, healing process for us as humans. It's
Mhm.
also a
Mhm.
process,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
like the
Mhm.
bees. They don't just all of a sudden have honey. They work very hard for it.
Right, right, right.
Like,
Yeah.
um, excuse me, and what it has taught me to, and this is what I bring to my practice, is just being more patient, being more grounded, being more um really connecting more to nature.
Mhm.
I feel this really helps us as humans to really just in our on our healing journey. I really feel it helps us as humans to just
Mhm.
recognizing we don't need to find all the answers right away.
When you're talking to your clients and just people, do you reference and bring in your beekeeping, like your hobby or, your interest in that? Do you bring that in the conversation, loop it in, and explain the concept of how nature can help people?
At times I do if it's appropriate, yes. I
Yeah, yeah.
do, yes. If somebody's curious about it, I love to talk about these all day long. But yeah, so if it's appropriate, absolutely. Because it,
Yeah.
it does, I think it can really help to just, you know, uh, just starting to practice mindfulness, finding some peace and calmness in
Mhm.
just grounding techniques. And we can do these by just stepping out of our, homes and just at nature, being connected to the sun, the
Yeah.
sunlight, like you said, feet on the ground, in the grass.
Mhm. Yeah. When you're busy and, you're having a stressful day, how does this hobby bring you peace? Like how does watching them and just, what does that look like?
That's a good question. Because our work sometimes can be
Mhm.
intense. When I'm out there, just doing a hive inspection or bottling up honey or creating some homemade products with beeswax. It just
Mhm.
just helps me to just, find a lot of inner peace, calmness. That's really, really part of
Yeah.
home therapy. Uh, yeah, just having that calmness, that peace, that focus on just being connected to nature and the bee.
Right. And you have to be present, right, while you're doing that, because if you're not, you're going to mess something up.
You have to be very present. And that really also that's a good point because you have to be very present. You have to be very calm because the bees know when you are breathing very heavily, they
Mhm.
feel like, oh, there's a potential threat. So you
Mhm.
have to really control your breathing.
Mhm.
And if you're calm, the bees see that you or feel that there's no threat. Um,
Mhm.
not go into a hive quickly. You have to take your time. You have to be very careful. You have to be calm and really teaches you just again to take more time, to be more present, to be more attentive.
Mhm. Yeah, that is so incredible. I didn't even think about that until you said something that, you have to because of the adrenaline, right? If you're I always say that if there's like an animal or insect or something that will attack you, it's going to be because you're anxious and you're secreting adrenaline, and that's what they respond to because they feel threatened by the adrenaline that you're secreting from your stress.
Absolutely. They feel our energy as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really, important to control your breathing, to not be anxious. And we can accomplish that by just really, being more mindful, being present,
Mhm, mhm,
focusing on exactly what we are doing. We can
mhm.
accomplish that. Absolutely.
What other nature practices do you think that, myself or others that are not beekeepers can bring in, which would be similar to that experience, and that practice?
Yeah. So there's many things, we
Mhm.
can do in order to feel connected to nature without becoming a hobby beekeeper.
Yeah.
For example, planting some flowers, planting some herbs in your backyard, even if it's in the kitchen, having a little pot with a little soil and planting some seeds, planting some basil, rosemary.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. Just, taking care of something um, is can be very soothing, can be very, healing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's interesting because I have aloe plants and they were thriving in pots, but I like decided to pot them in my like backyard and or plant them and they weren't giving babies and I was like so anxious that why aren't they producing like they normally do because they're actually aloe is pretty invasive. It can be.
Hmm.
But they weren't giving any babies, and I was, like, getting all looked up, "Why aren't they giving babies?" But, like, a lot of patience, right? Just, like, watching them, letting them do their thing and process, and now you see a little bit of here and there, like, little babies coming out, but it took, like, it a good 2 years before, they started in the pots. I think the pollination was just quicker. That is such a good practice of planting anything, right? It doesn't have to be herbs. It can be just flowers or anything and
Absolutely.
watching them grow.
Of course, the pot could have more soil, more moisture in it, when
Mhm.
on the ground, there could be lack of water, especially during like
Yeah.
Florida.
Mhm.
So there could be several,
Mhm.
reasons why. But again, just like you said, the patience, just really trusting it and
Trusting the process.
yeah, trusting the process and
Mm.
really practicing also patience because I think especially for most people, we have such busy lives, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so patience is something, we really have to intentionally practice, be mindful, be aware of and really practicing it.
Yeah, we really have to work on it because it's always go, go, go with our schedules and just our lives. And it's just like slowing down and just bringing yourself to the present moment. It's hard because we're always either thinking about the future or the past, right? We're never present, which is what I love about what you just said about beekeeping, that you have to like focus on your breathing and bring it down and be very present with the process. And, I love that
Mhm.
to slow down.
Absolutely. Beekeeping definitely teaches you that very much, very quickly. Um, because the bees are then not really forgiving, if
Nope.
so, and yeah, definitely. But again, like it's not necessarily to become a beekeeper in order to practice
Right.
that mindfulness. We can do this in so many different ways, but it can be so helpful in for everyone really, or for anyone
Yeah.
who would like to practice.
Yeah. I love watching sunsets too.
Beautiful.
Because they're so you have to be patiently just there, be present, and once it starts, like, hitting, going down, it goes quickly, but that whole process of it getting to that point is, just very calming, and you have to slow down to just be there. I noticed a couple of times with sunrises and sunsets that at airports, that people are just rushing, and there'll be, like, a beautiful sunset happening right outside or sunrise, and nobody's even stopping for a second to notice it. And, you can't really be in that much. A lot of the times you always are early to the airport. And I just feel like I wish I could tell people, hey, look at this, like slow down for just a second and look at it. And then, just I think that nature part of practices, right, is so important. Just grounding ourselves, because at the end of the day, humans are also part of the nature, right?
It is so true.
Do you have any tips for people that struggle with mindfulness and like presence?
Yeah, because I think, like first we have to recognize why a lot of people struggle with it because this is just not what we are used to, right? Because
Mhm,
it's
mhm,
always go, go, go. It's always
mhm.
very scheduled, very structured. There's a lot of things we have to do, a lot of things we have to accomplish. So we are not necessarily taught to be mindful, to be more present, to slow down a little bit. I think
Right, right,
that's
right.
really
Yeah,
something which, generally speaking, we are not used to. We have not been really taught. And
yeah,
so,
absolutely.
so starting to just, being, it doesn't have to be like a huge change. And I think that's also what would sometimes, people maybe feel like, oh, I have to do this all or nothing. It's like this all or nothing
Yeah.
thinking. If you just start out with just maybe if you drink a cup of coffee in the morning or a cup of tea and just maybe just for like a minute or two, just really focusing on that moment that you're enjoying this warm cup of tea or warm cup of coffee and just being present, just focusing on the smell of on the warmth of the tea or coffee, just being sitting there in the moment and just focusing on your breath. That could be a really great start already.
What kind of tea do you like? I'm curious.
I love green tea. I love green tea with our own honey,
Yeah.
with my honey. I love that. That's what I do drink daily. I have my green tea at least once, sometimes twice a day, with some honey, local honey, of course, because it does help with all sorts of allergies and
Yes.
yeah. So that's really what I love.
And I am supposed to have allergy testing today. That's why you see me scratching a little bit, because I'm off of my allergy medicine to get the testing done. And like, oh my gosh, it is real. So I'm looking forward to trying your honey and see if I can get my Florida allergies to calm down.
And that's another thing about the beekeeping, what really
Mhm.
fascinates me because, what nature can bring to us in regards to healing, just allergies, immune system.
Yeah.
It is such a powerful, so to
Yeah.
speak, and, allergies really it helps local honey really helps with allergies because we are, of course, exposed to our environment, and the honey can really make a difference. And it is
Mhm.
not only just for allergies, it really is also
Mm.
to boost our immune system.
Yeah.
The honey the beehive is, one of the healthiest organisms because they keep their hive healthy from all sorts of, viruses, bacteria, anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really health wise also very, very, very supportive and helpful for our own health. Allergies and
Right.
system.
Yeah, so it's so interesting because as you were speaking, I was thinking about it. So for me, religiously too, honey is in Islam considered the food, the energy source, right? Dates and honey. But honey has also significance because traditionally, I think just it's not religious, you have to do this, but a tradition that the prophet used to do was with a baby, the first thing the baby tasted was a little bit of honey. So,
That's
it's just
mhm,
right? So there's a lot of significance there. Why, right? There's always science behind these things. Why honey was chosen to be the first thing that you let the baby taste, right?
mhm.
Immune system, allergies, all of that. Because baby's not going to be born with those things.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean, the honeybee's been around, longer than before we
Right.
started existing, right? Yeah, and the honey, 1 tablespoon or teaspoon of honey really provides us with all, important nutrients, um,
Yeah.
what our body does need. And so it really is not only, for allergies or just because it's sweet
Right.
really has a lot of health benefits for sure. And it's very
Right. Yeah.
interesting that it is, like also so celebrated in your religion.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I'm very picky about my honey, like the store bought honey. If I put it in my tea, I cannot. Like the flavor of it is not right for me. So everyone looks at me and are like, you're the one person that, who doesn't like honey? And I'm just like, it's just like this, you have to have the right honey and I think that, the non-processed local like you're making is the way to go, right? Because that's the pure, real honey, not what's on the shelves in the store.
Well, I do have a lot of opinions about that, but so I would just say, I wouldn't buy honey from the store anymore, unless it's a true local, it is from a local beekeeper because there's just too much stuff in, like,
Yeah.
and there is an old saying, it's real honey isn't cheap and cheap honey isn't real.
Yeah, absolutely. So the 5 beehives probably produce a lot of honey. So what do you do with all of that honey?
Yes, yes. So, well, we have a lot of, family and friends who just
Mm,
always, love to take our honey.
yeah.
We also actually, I'm going to farmers markets now. I do,
Oh,
like
that's
sell the honey at
wonderful.
farmers markets. I also do beeswax products. So it's just,
Oh,
again, it just has become such a amazing, journey for me as well. I mean, beeswax products, for health, like lotions.
y
It's all just, very healthy, very organic, very natural. And so it has really become like a really awesome big journey for me.
yeah, this is incredible, and I'm sure that it's not like a financial thing that you're doing, it's just like a hobby and you have so much that what are you gonna do with it?
Yes,
That's so much
exactly.
fun.
The reason really, so yes, no, it's not about the money at all. Yes,
Yeah.
we do of course sell the honey, but it is really more to really talk with people and explain to them,
Mhm.
education, the importance of
Absolutely.
the honeybee, the importance of pollinators in our environment, protecting them. What can we do? Planting flowers or plants from Florida, which will
Yeah,
help them. Pollinator friendly plant
right.
flowers, all sorts of different things what people just, usually wouldn't know and just helping them to really understand a little bit more about nature, how it can, help us. Um, what an impact it has really on our lives.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm at farmers markets, I just love to speak with people about it if they have questions, maybe, and it's just very fascinating.
Yeah. And I think you and I had talked a little bit about this, but we never got around to like planning anything. But I would love to have an event around this because the beeswax, you can have that creative workshop part. And then I do the tea thing a lot now. So we can have actually your honey to sweeten the tea. So we could totally plan an event, some mind body events that I host.
I would love that. I would love that. I actually make also my own peppermint tea, because I have
Ooh,
peppermint plants and they
love it.
they grow they
Mhm.
grow very they're very very
Yeah.
very
They
and
also go.
but I do dehydrate the peppermint, the
Uh-huh.
leaves, and then I
Uh-huh.
make tea out of it. So yeah, absolutely, we can absolutely do something like this. I would love to.
That would be so incredible. And I think, like, again, like the education piece of it, right? I love bringing these things so that people can then go on their own and try these things and continue to do them and practice them because, this sounds so creative. You have to let me know about your next farmer's market. I would love to come see how you're displaying and how you're doing this. This is beautiful. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yes, I will definitely let you know. Mainly the message really and the purpose I see in all of this is to just help people to become more aware because this is a journey. And I say it all the time, every day almost. I really learned something new. There's always something I just didn't know, and I'm
Yeah.
fascinated about
Mhm.
learning more. And I just love to share, what I know about it, and just help people to become more aware of how much really how much change we can really create with little things.
Right. Great. I love the idea of like, and I would love to have this information on what to plant because I still have room back here to put more plants. I have like a few roses and this beautiful plant that my friend gave when we had our grand opening, actually. I'm not even sure what it is called, but I like looked on the thing and it was like, oh, you have to plant this outside. So I was like, okay, well, let's plant it outside and see what happens. Am not doing anything and it like flourishes full of flowers, just beautiful throughout like spring to fall. Like literally right now is the only time it's bare. It's very cold,
Amazing.
but it's beautiful.
That's wonderful. Well, there's like a list of native Florida plants and flowers,
Hmm.
and I can absolutely share this with you.
Hmm.
And these are wonderful flowers, and then especially our plants, and especially because they are native to Florida, they are also more resistant because as we
Right.
know, we have
Hmm.
sometimes drought, we have heat, we have sometimes torrential rain.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
we have all these different, elements. And so the native plants, they're used to that. And so they're meaning
Yeah.
resistant. And
Right.
then also not only that, they are also not only the bees, the butterflies,
Yes.
I mean, all pollinators to really help thrive, which we really need pollinators.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I was like arguing 2 nights ago with Alexa because Alexa was like, "You probably should go cover your plants tonight," and I was like, "It's midnight, like I'm not going covering them." And like I was looking outside yesterday, and I was like, "They're thriving. Like plants are really resilient too to temperatures." And I was like, "Okay, well, I really didn't." Like need to cover like if they're like local from the local plant stores and that's where I usually get mine. Like the aloe I got in Gainesville, actually. That's where I
Mhm.
got my aloe from, and it's been growing since like years. So this aloe I've had for years now, and it has like, yeah, it's beautiful. But like it is Florida, right? So they are able to resist these weathers and temperatures.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your plant, you can use it, that when you open up, like the leaves, you can use it, for lotion and yes, for
Yes.
curing, any kind of skin irritations. Yes, it does
Hmm.
help.
Yes, and that and then, my trainer told me about this aloe flush that you can do. You let it drain so the sap drains out after cutting the leaf, and then you scoop out the actual flesh and you shake it with coconut water and you
Mm-hmm.
just like gulp it. Actually, with coconut water, it doesn't taste bad at all. If you do it just with plain water, it doesn't taste good, but coconut water, it like kind of counteracts that taste and it actually flushes
Hmm.
like, all everything. I actually feel so good after doing those flushes, just toxins out of your body and you just pee it out. The days I do it, I just pee a lot, but I'm peeing out the toxins.
It's phenomenal. It's great. I mean,
Yeah.
nature gives us really everything we need. So it's
Hmm.
wonderful. It's great that you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, medicine has its part, but there's so much in nature that we can use, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is not just a
Yeah.
one-way street. Absolutely. We need both.
Yeah, and I do the aloe thing. I do a lot of things, and now I'm gonna get totally on the honey that you have because I know where it's coming from, right from the source, right? But I do a lot of nature things like teas, and they're
Mhm.
just bring you such calm and peace. And I love that you make your own peppermint tea. It's peppermint tea is so relaxing and you make your own, so that means it doesn't have caffeine in it because some of the peppermint teas will have caffeine in it. So I love that you're making your own.
Yeah, and it doesn't have any pesticides either, so
There
it's
you go. Yes. Yeah. And where did you get your mint plants from? Because a lot of the times people will just go to like Publix or, you know,
Mhm.
Trader Joe's or whatever to get their plants. Where do you get yours from?
Gosh, I don't even remember anymore because, they've been just growing for years. They really take over, so you really always have to cut them down. I bought them, maybe I usually buy, the little seed packages you buy at
Okay.
Home Depot, and then that's what I use.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fascinating just to see plants grow, and then also you are also in control of that it's not being exposed to any pesticides or any kind of
Right.
chemical you just don't want them to be exposed to. It's been years and they are growing. They're growing
Yeah.
pretty pretty wild, but you have to always cut them down. But they're also really good for when you plant your peppermint plants next to other plants, tomatoes or whatnot. It's a squirrel deterrent, so they
Ooh.
your other plants and nibble on them.
Right. That's really good to know. I did not know that. I love that you know so much about this. One, again, mind body, right? You're using your hands to do all of it and then you're making yourself present and just
Mhm.
the benefits of it, not just so there's physical benefits to it and then there's like the mind and mental health benefits to it and I love it. It's incredible.
Absolutely, body, mind, and spirit for sure.
Yeah.
Connecting when you're planting some flowers or some vegetables or whatever it is. Just also like you said, just watching the sunset or the sunrise. Just that physical connection, that emotional
Right.
connection, spiritual connection to just nature.
Mhm.
Just finding inner peace. I think that's really, like in our busy world right now, very important to just find that
Mhm.
peace and presence within. Because we
Right.
used to we always think about, what we need to do, what has happened, but it's so hard sometimes to just be present and just not to worry so much about all these other things, just really finding peace within.
So this is all so beautiful. This is such a good conversation. I love it. And I'm so excited about actually doing stuff with beeswax and trying your mint tea and everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. What do you produce with the beeswax? Like I know you said some it goes in like
Mhm.
lotions and conditioners and what else do you use it
Um,
for?
So I use it for beeswax, the beeswax, the lip balm. So I make little
Oh,
lip balms. I make hand lotions, body lotions. I
mhm.
also started making beard balm for the man in our lives.
Oh, love
So
that.
um, and um, and then I'm making a propolis. I mean, not me. I'm just processing it. The bees make the propolis. The
Ah,
propolis is a natural antibiotic, and so but the beeswax itself. Oh, and I also started making some candles, but because
mm,
it's small, we only have 5 hives, so we are not having
mhm.
a ton.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to make the lotions and everything with the beeswax, but it's not like a big production, so to speak. It's like yeah, very small batches. But
And that's
Mhm,
again like you're engaging in that creativity of creating different things, right? Even if it's, small quantity. That's just so
mhm.
fascinating to me that all that you can do. You're gonna have to tell me about the natural antibiotic. I did not know about that. Can you tell a little bit more?
Yeah, so the propolis is being made by the bees in their hive. This is sort of like what keeps the hive glued together. So the hive
Oh.
is protected. I don't know if you ever, watched a video or something when people opening up a beehive, it makes this cracking sound.
Mhm.
'Cause the
Mhm.
hive, they glue the hive together, so that nothing can come into the hive. So it's antivirus, antifungal, antibacterial.
Ah,
So they have inside the hive, it's very healthy. They have a very healthy organism. Um,
right.
and so the propolis is being selected when, it's inside the hive and it has to be carefully extracted. And then it
Mhm.
will usually be soaked in alcohol for like a few months at a time.
Oh, okay.
And then it will be strained, but then we can use it. We can use it if we have a sore throat. You can use it internally. You can also, when you're feeling sick, when you're getting cold, to take propolis. Again, it helps with antifungal, antivirus, antibacterial. You can also, if you have like a cut, you can put it on your skin. So it's just like an all over kind of home remedy. You can
I
use.
know right now I could have definitely used it with the amount of scratching I'm doing. It's been a week. I can't wait to get this testing over. But yeah, I mean like the skin irritation alone, right?
Skin irritation, yes, absolutely. When people feel like they're hesitant to take it internally, even though it's all nature, it's all natural,
Yeah.
so we can absolutely, use it. If I have sore throat, I put a few drops on my tongue.
Mhm.
The taste is not really truly pleasant, but
Like all medicine.
yeah, but it does help. Or if there is a rash or if there is a cut on the skin, we can use
Yeah.
it. It really does help.
Oh, this
Heal.
is
Helps heal.
yeah, thank you. This is like so much education too. I appreciate it. Okay, so one lesson that you learned from the bees that you would love for other people to know.
1 second, I just have to take a sip of coffee.
Yes, of course. I think that this is such good education for people to have because when from the outside you're looking at on the TV or whatever, you're looking at beekeepers, it just looks so intense and looks like the people in the all the geared up, stuff would be so stressed out. You can't see their faces. So, but like it's good to hear from you what the experience is like and how calming it is.
It really is. So I think the one lesson, really, I mean, there are several for sure, but the one biggest lesson I think what I have gained from being involved in beekeeping is to be more focused on our own presence and creating calm, recognizing that we are in control of creating inner peace and inner calm, and how powerful that is.
And, I loved how you started with like the little community that bees have. What do you think we can learn from just that community that they create, like in our communities and our society?
Oh boy, could we learn a lot. It's such a beautiful, powerful system the bees have created, and they're functioning so well, and they have been around since
Yeah.
thousands and
Hmm.
thousands and thousands of
Hmm.
years.
Yep.
And because they also, yes, everybody has their job, everybody does what they need to do to help the greater good, and really focusing on what's our goal, what's our purpose, what would we like to accomplish? And we can really apply this to humans. What do we want to accomplish? What's our
Yes.
purpose? What's our goal?
Hmm.
What do we need to do to really accomplish that? But I think in our busy
Yeah.
world, and that's just how we function, right?
Right.
Of
Yeah.
course, think about that. But I think we as humans, oh boy, can we learn a lot from the
Yeah.
and how their system works, and can apply, some of the things that it's just not always all about us. It's
Yes.
about everyone.
Yeah, the whole system, right? It's interesting how calm they are with their hierarchy too, right? Because everyone knows the queen bee cannot function without the rest of them. So it's not so much the leader is just gonna, govern and you need to disrupt the system or anything. They are all reliant on each other. And I wish we as humans could learn from that. And just having the common purpose, right? Even if it's survival, like if that's the common purpose, like we can, you know, I can't do something what a farmer does. How am
No.
I going to get my food that, a farmers generate, right? So we all have our roles to play. And I wish that we would just, do that and do it in harmony like the bees do.
Yeah, exactly, in harmony, and yeah, just I think just having I think there is this mutual respect. It's the mutual respect for each other, and you brought up a really good point. So sometimes there is a misunderstanding that the queen bee is in charge.
Mhm.
Yes, the queen bee is the queen bee, and she is the one who is setting the tone. She's setting the
Mhm.
mood.
Oh,
She's the one who is producing eggs. Yes, but the whole hive is also everybody. everybody has their part and everybody is respected within that part, if that makes sense. And they all set the tone, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All are working hand in hand to make things work. And so it's not just, oh, here's the boss and they just all have to do. No, everybody, the workers actually telling the queen where she has to lay eggs, what she has to do. If she's not doing her job, they are just replacing her too. If she's not,
Yeah.
if producing, if she is not doing what she's supposed to be doing, she will be replaced. So they're actually taking charge. So it's not just, that the
Right.
queen bee's in charge and she's the boss.
Right. Right.
It, this is such a well-designed functioning system. Everyone is relying on each other, but everybody is
Right.
respecting each other. Fantastic lesson for us to learn.
I know, right? I love this because it's not just the leadership, it's like an individual, right? Leadership, authority, taking up your role. And
Mhm.
then if like someone else is not doing it, like you said, most of the bees are females, so they, do take up if the queen bee is not performing, someone else is gonna take up that role to fulfill it. And that's okay too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's teamwork. It's really all
Yep.
about teamwork.
Absolutely. And again, the greater good, right? It's not like they're killing off the queen bee to have a new queen bee. It's for the greater good to keep the hive going, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creating a
So,
purpose.
and yeah, just, as society, community, I mean, overall, as a world, not just a country, we can all learn from that and have that harmony and
Yeah.
respect.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
But, I think, like the movie, we talk about it, and that's why, I think it's so important to really also just talk about just how important it is, the environment, how
Yes.
important it is, because it affects all of us. And that can create a sense of community, that can create a sense of connection. It can create a sense of awareness.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. This is so wonderful. I am excited about us getting together and planning something wonderful for our community here in Tampa. I asked you in the beginning, how are you? But I really want to ask, how are you really doing?
How am I really doing? Definitely, I am absolutely fascinated and in love with the beekeeping, with the bees, with just having that opportunity to really,
Mhm.
learn more. So I'm really doing really well. I think I found my thing, besides of
Yeah.
course, being a therapist, which I, of course, also love very much.
Yes.
I think, these two go really hand in hand, and it helps me being more grounded. It helps me being more focused. It helps me being more present in all sorts of aspects in my life. So thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I do believe I'm doing really well.
That makes my heart happy. It's so good seeing you. Thank you for coming on and educating. This was incredible.
Yeah, come out to the market. I'm usually at the Carrollwood Market. It's every second Saturday. Well, thank
Yeah.
you for having me. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And let me also ask you, how are you doing?
I'm doing well besides this itch. Hopefully, I'll get a good night's sleep tonight and recover from this once I'm able to take medicine to calm this down. But
Mhm.
this conversation really just warmed my heart, and I appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you for having me. And I like I said, I love to talk about bees and just to bring awareness to just our environment and how the
Mhm.
importance of it. So I really appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we close, I always ask, how are you really doing? Thank you so much for spending this time with us on How Are You Really? If something in this episode spoke to you, send it to a friend, leave a review, or follow the show. It really helps. Until next time.